Between 1944 and 1996, Nino Baragli edited more than 200 films, making him one of the best editors of Italian cinema. Nephew of the famous editor Eraldo da Roma, he started his career as director of photography, to then dedicate himself to editing. He also won numerous awards, including David di Donatello for Best Editing. Among others, he worked with famous directors like Pierpaolo Pasolini, Bernardo Bertolucci, Sergio Leone, Roberto Benigni, and Federico Fellini. The turning point for Baragli's career was at the beginning of the 60s, when he met Pierpaolo Pasolini and other Italian directors of the new generation. Almost unconsciously, he became one of the protagonists of the so-called Italian Nouvelle Vague, which revolutionized the language of Italian cinema. As Baragli himself said, one of the most significant films of his career is Accattone, the debut of Pierpaolo Pasolini in 1961. Leo Catozzo, another famous Italian editor, was supposed to be the editor of the movie, but after 2 weeks he abandoned the project, saying the film was impossible to edit. And this is when the collaboration between Nino Baragli and Pierpaolo Pasolini began. With Accattone, the editing style started changing. The editing is fragmented and with a slow rhythm in parts. Pasolini, together with Baragli, destroys the concept of continuity and extends the scene to different locations, doing a reverse shot in Frascati and another one in Venezia, as Baragli once said, not following the rules of eyeline matching and spatial continuity. Baragli in this film makes advantage of Pasolini's lack of experience, accentuating his mistakes instead of covering them, creating a new and unique style. Also remarkable is the use of the sound, especially in the dream sequence, in which Accattone dreams about his funeral. The editor alternates moments of overwhelming and deafening silences with sounds out of sync, making a disturbing dream hallucination effect. All of Pasolini's shots in the film are carefully composed and scrupulously edited with perfect timing. The film demolishes the traditional editing rules, following a more experimental path that will then lead to the Italian Nouvelle Vague. And that is why Accattone was way ahead of its time. Nino Baragli's collaboration with Sergio Leone started in 1966 with The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. Based on a cinematic story of murder and betrayal, 3 characters, Blondie, Angel Eyes and Tuco, also known as The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, come the American Southwest in search of a strongbox containing gold. The final scene of the film, known as the trio scene, is considered to be one of the best examples of editing in cinema history. The 3 characters take their positions in a triangle formation, and then for 2.5 minutes they just wait, and nothing seems to happen. You could say there is a lack of narrative, but this is where the cinematic elements, like cinematography and music, put together with the editing, come into play, to fill the scene with suspense and tension. We start the scene with 2 establishing shots that show us the physical relationship between the characters and also the geographical position, asymmetry. To increase the curiosity of the viewer, all the shots alternate in different order, going from medium shots with Tuco, Angel Eyes and Blondie connecting an eyeline match, to over-the-shoulder shots which re-establish their position in correlation to each other, to weapon close-ups, to close-ups of the faces, and finally to extremely close-ups of their eyes. As it progresses, the music gets louder and the editing faster, making everything more frenetic, but always very precise, until Blondie shoots Angel Eyes and the build-up tension gets released. In 2.5 minutes, we have 65 shots, and each one of them expresses thoughts and musical rhythm, following a precise scheme. The first sequence shows us the emotions of the characters, the fearlessness of Blondie, the panic of Tuco, and the coldness, only apparent, of Angel Eyes, who is in the middle of the 2. Baragli's editing, with the use of eyeline match, not only shows us their emotions but also make us understand who will die and the unspoken alliance between Blondie and Tuco. The beauty of Baragli's editing is the way it is extremely dynamic. It can go from a more slow, confusing, and somehow crazy style to a frenetic and full of suspense one, making each film unique and beautiful.